Hi everyone, today I'm here with one of my favorite videos to make, which is 20 plus story ideas for your next book. We are at Preptober already, so feel free to use these ideas for your next big project that you might be drafting in November. I have a really quick disclaimer that I have to say first before we move on to all my ideas, which is that if you've read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, you'll know that she believes ideas are like entities and they can attach to anyone, meaning that everyone can come up with the same idea. Whereas I don't know if I 100% believe in the fact that ideas are like sentient and living. I do think that it is 100% possible and totally valid and fair to come up with an idea that someone may have come up with already. I don't think ideas are entirely original, and I think it's very, very harmful to say that an idea has been done before and you shouldn't do it again. I think that's doing an injustice to creativity, to other creators and writers, but most importantly to the idea itself as well. So if I have listed an idea that you are familiar with, I highly encourage you to let me know what movie or TV show or book that you've read that idea from. I totally encourage that. Please let me know because I really want to, devour these works. But I would maybe stay away from the idea that someone has done it already and therefore you cannot do it. I don't think that is the right approach at all, and I don't condone that. So please keep that in mind as you watch this video. Also, I see that a lot of times these days there's like copyrights like, oh, this is not AI generated. These ideas are completely not AI generated. I am delusional, so I come up with all these story ideas and I don't want these story ideas. Please take them, please use them. I have too many ideas I want to write already. I don't want these, so take them away from my brain. I don't need them to clog up more space. Okay, we're gonna get started with this video now. The first story idea I have is space heist. I feel like there are quite a few space heist stories already out there, and I think one of the more notable ones is actually a superhero movie. It's Guardians of the Galaxy. But what I'm thinking for this story idea is that I want it to be a little bit more modern, and I want the characters to be a little bit more messy and to also be a little bit more relatable. And so I was thinking that this could be like dual POV, and then one of the characters is on like the good side who has to steal something for the greater good, but they don't necessarily like stealing because that's like not considered good. But then what they're stealing is actually another person who's probably a prisoner, or you can turn this idea into anything else. Like the thing that they have to steal doesn't necessarily have to be a person, but it can be like a treasured object. And of course it's like in space, so I love exploring like galaxies. I think there's a lot to do with this one. So I am a sci-fi girly at heart, so we have to do a space idea first. And the second and third one, they're fairy tale retellings. I am currently in the middle of writing my own fairy tale retellings. Actually, it's two fairy tales mashed up together, but anyway, the fairy tale retelling that immediately came up to mind while I was thinking about ideas was Red Riding Hood and Snow White, because of these two movies I'll put up on the screen. I watched these when I was a teenager. I am not a teenager now, but I'm kind of craving that, plus with all this like romanticy stuff going on. So let's talk about Red Riding Hood first. So this one, I actually don't really know how it would go, but I want it to be a romanticy between Red Riding Hood and the wolf and also the huntsman. So there are actually quite a few Red Riding Hood retellings, or like variations, I guess. So I think the original one is that the little girl goes to her grandma's house, but the grandmother's already eaten. And then there's another variation where like a huntsman like randomly comes out and kills the wolf. From that version, there are two split versions. One is that the girl is right inside the wolf's stomach, and then the huntsman like opens like the wolf up, gets the grandma out, and then gets the little girl out. And there's the other variation was like the huntsman comes in and kills the wolf before she gets devoured. And the word devoured can mean quite a few things when you think of romantasy. And then I think for the wolf part, you can have them be like a werewolf. Also, I do love love triangles, so there are going to be quite a few love triangles in this video too. The third one, I like this one a lot. To be honest, if there were any stories in here that I would actually attempt to write, it would probably be the third one. So this third one is a cyberpunk Snow White. You're probably like, how does this even happen? Actually, the first thing I thought about was obviously this idea of beauty. And I think this does involve cyberpunk in a sense that I think our beauty standards are going to continuously evolve, especially when we reach the point where elite wealthy, ultra wealthy people can afford all these like cosmetic changes. And if you add on this layer of like modifications and body enhancements that only like the really wealthy can afford. And so this idea really is, if the evil stepmom and Snow White, the elite people, they live in like the clouds, okay? And then other folks like me and you, we live planet side, so we live on Earth. I was thinking that like, it doesn't have to be like, the stepmom doesn't have to be like a princess or something like that, or like a queen. Snow White's family business could be like cosmetic beauty skincare or something like that. And so the mom is like the face of the brand, and she doesn't want the stepmom, I should say, doesn't want the stepdaughter to be the face of the brand. I think there's a lot you can do with it. If you guys have been enjoying this video so far, I would really appreciate it if you could give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe down below. By you subscribing or liking or even engaging with this video, this will let YouTube know that other writers will also enjoy this video. So by you liking it, YouTube will be like, okay, this other writer likes it, let me push this video out to them. I would really appreciate it a lot. Thank you so much. The fourth one is a romantasy idea, and it actually stems from Theon Greyjoy from A Song of Ice and Fire or Game of Thrones. So Theon Greyjoy came into the Stark household as a ward. From my understandings of what being a ward is, it's someone that you kind of take prisoner and they come under your protection. Or it doesn't have to be a prisoner, I think, just like someone that comes into your protection. And so I was thinking of this idea where someone like a boy, like the son of like some military leader, becomes a ward of the main character's household, and they're like the opposing side. But then like the dad of the main character is like really nice to the kid, and he becomes a ward, and then the kid ends up like backstabbing the family, like runs back to his original family when he can, has all these secrets now, comes back like years later. Romantasy, okay, that's a romantasy. And then when he comes back, he realizes the girl, the daughter that he's always liked, it'll be fun. Okay, I think it'll be fun. Number 5. This one is so interesting. I don't know how I would make this into a novel, but I can see myself writing a short story about this. So this one is a girl who can stop time to do anything she wants, but the longer she stops time, the more she becomes like the picture of Dorian Gray, where something somewhere ages terribly, and then at the end of the story, she becomes that. She becomes this like weathered old lady of all the time that she's hogged for herself, and she doesn't know that's the consequence until she's doing it, until it comes to a point where there's like no return. I think this idea is very interesting. I'm saying like this might be a better short story idea because I haven't thought of a plot that can like you'll have to think of a lot more like subplots and extra stuff when it comes to this. So I think a short story would be really fun with this idea. I don't think I'll write the short story ever though. Something to think about. Number 6. This one is so out of character for me. This one is like a satirical literary with a spec twist about an office worker's life, and her goal is just to like get promoted or something. But then like somehow she enters, or her like soul enters like a second like shadow world where all her colleagues or her bosses are like these like evil characters that you have to like defeat. Every real life coworker has like this like alter ego like shadow side, and in the shadow world the girl has to conquer them to get to her goal of being promoted. You can also write the story like side by side to reality, like something parallel is happening in that like shadow side. Does that make sense? I feel like this could be really funny. I'm thinking this could be like super satirical, because if you work in corporate America and you follow all these like corporate meme accounts, you'll know that this is a joke and I can't believe I have to do this for the rest of my life. But I think it'll be really fun. I do want it to be like light and satirical, but like dark and funny at the same time. I don't know. I think I would read this and have a really good time. So this next one is a complete 180. This one is actually in the genre of cosmic horror. So I have to define this first. What is cosmic horror? Cosmic horror is also known as Lovecraftian horror. And this is essentially kind of like a sci-fi horror thriller genre. It's this understanding and this knowledge that you are completely insignificant in the realm of the world, in this galaxy, while you face these like wonderful, beautiful, corrupt, terrifying creatures outside of this universe. You yourself are kind of destroyed. It's movies like The Mist, Blackbird, and also movies and books like Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer is very bleak, to be honest. Like, I did not enjoy watching The Mist. I came up with this genre because I think it can be interesting, especially the way it gets resolved. You don't want it to be too hopeful because that's the point of the genre. It's like cosmic horror. It's supposed to make you not feel hopeful at all. Let me just get to the idea. The idea is that a group of maybe like space exploration people or scientists, they go to this new planet and it's their first time there, like as, you know, humans and individuals, not like robots and drones or whatever. And once they get there, it's like this beautiful planet. It's beautiful. It's pink and they're purple clouds or something. The water is like a turquoise blue until they realize that there's something on this planet that is causing like this group of scientists to kind of go crazy a little bit. And that sounds, it sounds so sad. Like, why am I doing this to these poor characters? But I feel like, you know, this genre is here for a reason. Something can be said about this. So I'm gonna just end it there. Completely switching gears again. So I'm kind of craving like works actually targeted to teenagers, especially in young adult. I don't write a lot of young adult anymore. I'm currently like writing one, that fantasy I was talking about, although my character is not a teenager, but I would love to bring teenagers back. So this idea is kind of like a really simple one. It does remind me of like Power Rangers and the movie Chronicle. It's about teenagers who are in the wrong place in the wrong time and they get some sort of superpower and they're trying to like save the world. I want this to also be multiple POV. I want the stakes to be like paralleling like what it's like to be a teenager, but also like trying to be a teenager and like save the world. Okay, my camera cut me off somewhere in between me saying this. The point is, I just want a group of like fun characters trying to save the world together and being teenagers. I'm really craving that, actually. Maybe I should just write some of these myself. Number 9 is a Western, but make it in space. I think there are like several like space Westerns. They're all like not very modern, so I do want something a little bit more modern. So what makes a Western a Western? So I looked this up really quickly. One of the key elements in a Western is a gray area in law. It involves isolation, survival, changing times, outlaws, and it's kind of like, I think, a little bit more of also like nature versus man, not like a man, I guess like a human, and the isolation that comes with that. A very famous director who does like Western movies is Quentin Tarantino, and he said that if you look at old Western movies set in the 70s, you'll see that they tackle issues on like Watergate, like American Identity on Watergate and on myth. And so if we look at American Identity today, what does that say if you put it in a space setting? And I just love space. I really want like a female main character, like breaking the law and like trying to find herself in space. I really want that, okay? Let's redefine this space genre. I need more modern women trying to overcome like the patriarchy in space. Again, totally changing gears. This one is a bit more contemporary. Also, that is a brambles right behind me. Can you see him? I was on the train the other day and I was reading, and then the conductor, we still have those like really old punchy ticket thingies that you see in like those movies. And so one of the train conductor personnel people was watching me read a book, and then he made me a bookmark out of a train ticket. And the first thing I thought of was, we need to put this in a book. So how do we put this in a book? I feel like we can start there and it can go a lot of different ways. One of the ways that I can see it going is just like how a meet cute starts. And then I was also thinking it could be something like those books where the characters like meet up like once a year or something, and then once a year they always meet on this train going to the exact same place, and they don't really know each other, and they've been doing this for years, and they finally like talk to each other. I thought the idea was really cute, so I thought I'd just throw it out there. I think we're on 11 now. Yes, okay, 11. So this one is kind of inspired by the book I'm currently reading, which is A Song to Drown Rivers by Anne Leung. It's kind of inspired by that, but I feel like I might have seen this somewhere else before, but I can't think of like, I can't pinpoint what book or what movie. So this idea would mostly be a girl infiltrates like an enemy kingdom and ends up kind of falling in love with the enemy leader, but she also had a thing with like her country's like military expert or military advisor. And I want the story to mostly be like the girl or the main character was kind of like brainwashed to be on the right side or something like that. Like I want some good political intrigue. Overall, I think this would be a really good romantasy idea. I don't know what number we're on. This one is I just wrote a spicy guardian angel paranormal romance, which some might argue was the original romantasy. I was thinking we should bring back paranormal romances and make it modern. I had no idea that this whole video I would say make it modern. Yeah, but I agree. Let's make it current. Let's make it modern. And I think like a guardian angel like looking over you and helping you is really fun. And I just want spice in it. Okay, a spicy guardian angel. Okay, I think this is 13. Did I say 17 the last one? I kind of misordered it on my phone. So this one was actually inspired by Chihiro and Your Name, which is like a Japanese animated film. I really like the idea of like forgetting your name or forgetting some crucial part of you, and you're kind of like lost in that process. I don't really have like a plot or a setting really for this one. It's just losing an integral part of you because something took it away or you left it yourself. Actually, you know what? Let's go to this other story idea that I had towards the end of this list. I'm going to put it up right here. I had this story idea. Actually, it's a poem that I wrote about someone who actively gives themselves up as a changeling. I thought that was a really interesting idea because we do read a lot. Oh my god, my voice is dying now. Give me a second. There are tons of fae stories out there, and especially I think in The Cruel Prince, was there a changeling? A changeling is essentially like a fae replaces you with like another like demon baby, and you are like taken away to this fae land. I kind of want to read that, but the main character like actively wants to be taken. I don't know what number we are because I jumped all over this list for some reason. So the next one is a cozy fantasy that involves a cute cake shop. Personally, I don't know too much on the beats of a cozy fantasy. My understanding is that cozy fantasy have really low stakes. And so I think the stake can be as low as like probably making a cake for someone and you don't have the ingredients, and maybe you need to like go through this like cozy fantasy world and get ingredients. But yeah, I want a cozy fantasy, like cozy bakery cake shop vibes with like magical creatures like eating like little strawberry shortcakes. Next one is a cartographer who's on a mission to draw maps or make maps, and they end up becoming almost like an ambassador between two different worlds. You can do a lot with this. Okay, you can put this in space, you can put this in a fantasy world, but it has to be anti-colonialism. That is what I'm trying to say. If I were to write this, that would be the theme. And kind of like reimagining how things could have been done differently if we didn't come from like such an imperialist perspective. I think we have 4 left. These 4 are kind of my own ideas as well. I think besides the one I said I wrote the poem of, everything else in this list have been like things I want to read, but what I'm about to say is going to be short and conceptual because they're based from my own stuff, obviously minus the one I already talked about with the changeling. Okay, we're going to just rapid fire these. This video is already really long. Okay, so one is a planet that can communicate with people. That's an interesting one. Love it. A cat allergy shot turns someone into a cat. Yes, they can be like Catwoman, or you can make them a literal cat. I don't know yet. The government decides to dim the sun. So this actually kind of exists. I know the acronym is SAI. I feel like that's a good setting. Like I like that setting, that premise. And what can happen if you dim the sun? I mean, a lot of bad things can happen. Also, you can read my Drabble where I use this concept. I'll link it down below. And the last one I have is a concept that I've used in my poem As I Want To So I Can, and is also in a short story that has not found a magazine or a home yet. And it is technology where you can upload your own memories. And when you're feeling sad, you can just put them back in your head and like live through it. This is just like a very high level concept. What you do with this can be very different. I didn't think of more to say than this, so I guess I could think of something on the spot. Maybe someone is in jail or something, or in prison. In order to punish the prisoners, they make you like relive your best moments. That's really bleak. I don't know why that's the first thing I thought of. You know what? Maybe we can even combine this. This can be the prisoner they're trying to pull from the first idea I had in the space heist. I think essentially, since we're coming to the end of the video, essentially like story ideas, and especially novel ideas, it's not just like one plot. It's not just one thing you can write. You have to make a book out of it. You have to make at least like 65,000 words. Probably even more if you're writing something speculative. There are so many different ways you can take different story elements and like weave them together and make this beautiful, beautiful book. And so please do not discourage each other by saying that don't write it. This has been done before. I personally believe you can still write a really good book, even if you might have seen some similar concept somewhere else. I don't think that should deter you ever from writing. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope my hair has been behaving. I slept on it like really, really strange, and that's why there's like a little hole here. If I brush it aside, it kind of just looks like I have bald lines or something. Like it's like, okay, we're not gonna, now everyone's noticing it. Thank you so much for watching. And again, if there are any ideas here that sound similar to something you've seen or read, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to check it out. Bye.